It's Amanda from AmandaFrancis.com here with another interview from one of my amazing Money Mentality Makeover students. I have with me today Megan from meganelizabeth.net. Thank you for being here, Megan.
Thank you so much. Hey.
I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for letting me interview you.
Of course. I'm excited.
So I was just reading the email you sent in, and you were saying that you had been working with a coach and you were still feeling like you were in the midst of your money struggles and you're feeling very stuck. And then you saw my course, and what was that like?
Yeah. So it was just one of those moments when, you're at that point of like, something's not working. Like I can't seem to figure this out. I know there's a way though. And then boom, like all of a sudden there's an email, or maybe it was even a Facebook post about the Money Mentality Makeover. And I was like, well, this is probably exactly what I need. It showed right up, in one of those perfect moments when you need it.
And you said that like you had been kind of trying to work on these kind of things and it like wasn't really working for you.
Yeah. So I was working with a coach, and I was investing a lot of money actually with a coach, and it just wasn't getting the job done. And I don't think it was the coach's fault at all. It was just my mentality was so screwed up, and I couldn't even see past like any of the issues to be able to start actually working on them. So actually the course was like that perfect time for me to like really go deep with myself. Like I couldn't even admit some of the money issues I was having with my coach. So like it was obviously not a good relationship for her to be able to help me, because I couldn't even express what was going on. So the course was really good because it let me do that shit on my own, like the real deep stuff that I wasn't willing to share with anyone. So it was definitely a game changer in that way.
Okay. So you start doing the course, you start going through the homework, and how fast did you notice changes? What was it like?
Yeah, so at first, within the first, there's the instant, like that first video you watch, you feel your whole like energy start to shift, and you just feel excited and hopeful, which is a really good thing when you're in a money rut or whatever. But then after that, I started noticing little things, like I took a trip, a vacation, and I left my laptop charger. And so I walked into the Apple store, and, I was like, it wasn't going to be a big investment, obviously, but then they just like gave it to me for free. And then other things like walking into some other place, and just like little synchronicities, like finding things that felt easy for me to spend my money on, or it was like being given to me. And I was starting to like understand, like, okay, so the better I feel, like things are coming to me. And it just like kind of broke that barrier of like investing is hard or spending is hard. So it started really gently, which is exactly what I needed. And then fast forward, like now I can make, huge investments for my own business. So started small, exactly where I needed it to be. And it grows with you.
That was my experience too. That was my exact experience. Like I said in the course, I was, manifesting facials, and that like, you probably know this, that NARS, the Make It brand NARS, they had that orgasm blush. I was obsessed with the color, and I walked into Sephora and they gave me the free NARS new nail polish. And like, it was just things that I started to kind of set my heart on, and things that I started to feel positively about flowed easier. So then when I started to set my heart on more money and feel better about money flows easier, right?
Yeah, it's all about that, like feeling good about it, really.
Yeah, but you can't feel good about it when you have all those stories and the limiting beliefs and the negative perceptions and all the things I talk you through very clearly and in a detailed way, but then make you write it all out and journal through all of that crazy shit like in your homework.
Yeah, and like I had said before, being able to do that on your own, like I know like so many of us work with coaches and it's so great, but there are some things that like our mind is like keeping us so blocked from some of the real deep stuff. So I love the way the course is set up, that you're sitting in the comfort of your home, like it's just you and your journal, and you can really get serious with yourself and get real about what those money stories were and where the blocks actually came from. And that was the thing that like I couldn't do that without the course.
Yeah, right. Because how would you know what questions to ask? Like, how would you know what to
Exactly.
look
Like you don't even know where to begin. You're like just like walking around like, I don't even know what to do with myself right now.
Yeah, and that's how I envisioned it when I created it, honestly. I don't know how I knew this, but I envisioned people like listening to that like, 90-minute module one and then like sitting down for everyone's telling me it took them like about an hour and a half or 2 hours. Was that your experience to start working through the homework each week?
Yeah, actually that's right on par. Like a
Yeah.
couple hours a week I was doing.
Yeah. So I envisioned you guys, I didn't know how long, I guess, at the time, but I envisioned you guys like sitting there, writing it out, like the questions I have you ask, looking at all of them, journaling through them, like candle lit, like crying into your journal. Like that's kind of what I saw.
That is exactly what happened.
Well, vision on point.
Yeah.
Thank yeah, no, that's amazing. So okay, so you know, people tell me over and over again that like things happen inside of their businesses for business owners or for people who work for jobs inside of their work with their income or their promotions or whatever. So I do want to get to like how this has changed your business as a website designer. But first, I kind of want to hear the story about you walking through town and someone handing you a check. Can we do that one first?
Yeah, we can. So I grew up in a very small town, like, everybody there. And I haven't lived there in the past few years. And I did, though, prior, I rented a house for a summer there. I had given a security deposit, like, totally forgot about it. And I was walking into a coffee shop in a different town, like, not even the hometown, not the town where I rented this house. Walk into this coffee shop, and there was my old landlord sitting there, and she's like, "Oh my God, Megan." She's like, "I have to give you your security deposit back," and like writes me a check for $1,000 right there. And I like walk out. My mom was in the car, and I was like, "What?" I just walked in for coffee, and I made $1,000.
So good, right? But I'm imagining that was after you'd been working the principles in the course a while and you're feeling good about money and money was flowing and you weren't expecting money to be hard anymore, right? You were open to receiving in miraculous ways.
Exactly. And it's when you least expect it, when you can drop that like freak out of like clinging on to every penny and worrying where the next one's coming from. Like when you can get into that more effortless place by doing the coursework, like then all of that stuff just starts to happen. And it's funny when it happens, like you realize how far you've come and you realize like how not desperate you are anymore about money, because it's like, oh shit, cool, I just made $1,000. Like,
So good. So good.
right.
And what are the chances you're going to see her? Like, right? Even though she owed you the money, what's the chances you're going to see her and she's going to remember and that's going to be on her heart and you're going to be in the same coffee shop? Like, it's just too good.
It was so, yeah, it's like one of those moments where like you could not have planned that. Like that was just total like divine timing in every way.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Okay, so then tell me more about how these principles have affected you as like a woman entrepreneur and a business owner.
Yeah. So when I started this course, I was doing a lot more like branding and graphics for people. So I was sending out like literally like 30, $50 invoices, like, 300 was like a big deal. And so now I send like, $4,000 invoices at minimum. And that's like, I mean, that's crazy. It's been less than 2 years, and I've made the jump from sending like $30 invoices to $4,000 invoices. So it really like, once you can start to understand some of the principles about like how to earn, then you recognize like everything in your business can start to change. For me, it was definitely a worthiness thing and like working through that and feeling worthy enough to actually receive money. Like it changes everything. It makes you look, I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's like putting on a completely different lens and looking at your life completely differently, because you're not seeing yourself as that, like, before I used to think I was like this young 20 something, like my office job didn't work out. Like I was, like that starving entrepreneur, like trying to get started. And now it's like, well, I don't resonate with that story at all anymore. Like I don't even hardly remember that person, because now it's just like, well, yeah, I'm like, I have a business and it's a real business, and the money comes into it in the way that, like, in proportion to how much I can feel confident and sure of like what I offer being of value and something that like people just are attracted to what I offer. And that's just how it is.
So good. Yeah, money comes in proportion to your confidence and your certainty around the value of what you offer. So good. And I think that's true. I think there's a lot of women in this world doing good work, not paying their bills, doing good work, not feeding their children, doing good work, not believing in their work, so they're not doing as good of work as they're even capable of doing, because they're telling a story that it's not even that good of work, right? And it's just one of my favorite affirmations of the whole course is, my work is of high service and worthy of massive compensation. And that's the affirmation I ran around saying when I was hanging flyers all over Dallas, manifesting my first 7 life coaching clients. I was like, it's worth motherfucking compensation. It is of high service. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good you are until you believe that, right? It doesn't matter how good your work is.
Yeah, it's so true. I know now, like, that the skills that I have in web design and branding and stuff, and it's like, I couldn't see that before. I mean, it's like, people tell you, oh, I love I love this, I love that you made. And it's just, if you can't get behind that feeling of like truly believing in yourself, you're like, you don't feel anything when people say that stuff to you. And that sucks. That's not a way to live your life or to run a business. Like, you can't, it's just, I don't know. In a way, it's almost like it's our responsibility to learn how to like raise our vibration about money, because otherwise, how can we like live in our purpose and do what we really want to be doing, what we're meant to be doing?
We can't. We
right?
can't.
It doesn't work that way.
We'll run around, we'll feel uncompensated, we'll never charge what we're worth, and we'll end up going back to day jobs. I mean, it's not a good alternative.
No. When you start thinking that lifestyle that you were living that you hated so much and wanted to get out of, like, when you start to think that that's somehow a better solution to what you're living, like that, like, yeah, you need the money mentality makeover.
So good. Okay. Tell me about financially how this has affected your business, like your numbers now compared to your numbers last year. And tell me a little bit about the accomplishments you've had. I heard you just had a really huge week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So percentage-wise, I made 121% more this year than I did last year. And last year I was still working at a marketing agency. So like, that's the difference between, that safe, stable job that wasn't. But I just had my first, or one of my biggest weeks ever, and I made over $5,000 this week alone.
Yay! $5,000 in 7 days.
Yeah. And it was so easy. I mean, I've been working this week, right? Like, it's not like I've been on vacation, and I know I can start earning $5,000 on vacation, but it was easy. Like, it was just a normal week for me.
Yeah, but you're in the flow. You expect more and more and more. You're not freaked out by money, right? You're open to receiving.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you've done the work, so now it gets to be easy.
Yeah, and that's an important thing I think that a lot of us forget, is we get in that place of like thinking we have to work so hard for it. And it's actually when we stop working so hard, like, that's when it actually starts showing up, I think.
That's been my experience when I worked a lot smarter, a lot more strategically, when I expected it to be easy and asked for guidance making it easy. I'm not working harder each year, and I'm earning way, way more each year. But I expect that. That's one of the rules that I've created for myself in my life, that I always earn more and work less all the time every year, no matter what.
I love that. Yeah. It's so true. I think it's just like creates an easier path for us to make more money, more opportunities.
Yeah. And you expect opportunities. I think that's one of the affirmations in the course, that money making opportunities come quickly and easily to me, right? Like, yeah, Yeah, and then you're open. People write you checks and give you free Apple chargers, and you earn $5,000 in a week. And yeah, go girl! You're doing such
Woo!
good
Thank you.
work. Okay, is there anything else you want a potential money course student who's just not quite sure to know?
Yeah, so I think it's really like you already know. Like if you're questioning, like I think there's that gut feeling, and when it's like, hell yes, I need this, it's okay if you don't actually have all the money for it yet. And in fact, anytime I've invested in my business, I have yet to have the entire lump sum available at that moment. And so like there's always payment plans, and honestly, like if you know you can make that first one, then you're gonna make the rest of them, and it's just how it works. So
Yeah.
I think probably the biggest fear, because this is a money course, like we're all kind of coming into it with some money issues, right? So there's like the fear of investing money to learn how to make money, but you have to do it, and that's the game changer.
I agree. I agree. And I think for anyone who's never invested before, I remember when I was just starting to invest in the personal development and business development things I needed, and I definitely didn't have the money for it, but there was something about spending those first few times. Well, I mean, even now it's just way bigger amounts, but there was something about spending that just said, okay, now I'm doing business at this level. Now I'm doing business at this level. Now I'm doing business at the level of someone who can buy $1,000 course or whatever it is. That's where I'm at. That's who I am. That's how I operate, right? And even just like making that payment is kind of like, okay, universe, I'm ready, right?
Exactly. And that's all it takes. And like the second you make that first payment, or however you end up, even if you're paying all in full, it doesn't matter. It's like when you're making that first payment, that's like your literal like message to the universe, like, okay, I'm in. And then the universe always shows the way. Like it doesn't, never fails you in that way.
Yeah, I agree completely because I think the universe is just responding to us all the time, right? So when we go, okay, next level, the universe goes, she's ready for the next level. Let's
Right.
get behind her. Let's make it happen, right? You know?
And it's such a fun feeling. Like I still I still like push myself to make new and different investments in myself and in my business. And that feeling never goes away. Like when you like hit the first like yes or payment or submit or I'm in, whatever that button is to like get you into that next thing, it's like the most exciting feeling ever.
Yeah, totally. And then because you've done this a few times now, you have expectation around that feeling, right? You make an investment and you expect it to lead to great things, right? So you
Right.
like you're in the faith, like you're kind of creating like a covenant with the universe that like, okay, I'm doing my part and it's time for the next thing.
Yeah. It's so fun. It's like it becomes a game with the universe.
It is a game. And I think money, this is the thing about money, when we stop being frantic around money and we get purposeful with money and we change the story around money and then we're kind of in a flow with money, then manifesting really is a game. You decide the kind of month or the week or the day or whatever that you want to have or how you want to earn. And then just getting yourself there where you can believe it and clearing whatever you need to clear. It's just, it's like the game of life. It's like a board game, right?
Exactly.
A game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except you get to choose what job you get in the beginning, not like life where you can get stuck with a shitty one.
You get to make all the choices, the job,
Right?
the house, the city, whatever. Yeah, all the choices. Yeah, and then and because you've been doing this a long time and your bills have been paid and your needs have been met for so long, like it's like everything extra. There's just a lot of freedom around it now, right? Like the pressure's off and it is fun.
Yeah. And it's that recognition of like, oh, this is how life is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like you have such a moment of like clarity, like, oh, it was never supposed to be that hard. I was never supposed to be struggling. And it does, like it takes a minute to get there. You have to like work it and work the steps, work the process, but then it's like such a like refreshing place to be on the other side of it all.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. So you would say, well, you tell me how fast, like we know that a little over 1 year later, you're having like $5,000 weeks, but how fast did you see changes like in the first period right after starting to work the course?
So when I first started the course, I was traveling a lot, so I didn't actually get to complete it in the like those consecutive weeks that you get the modules. But within the first, I think it was like 2 or 3 months within taking the course, that I booked 3 new clients at, you know, like for like $9,000. And that happened within like a 14-day period. So it was all, you know.
So you booked $9,000 within 14 days within 2 or 3 months of taking the course.
Yeah. So it happens fast. When you're like in it and you're doing the work, it happens really fast.
Yeah, amazing. And at that time, were you still trying to leave your day job?
I was already gone at that point.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here, love. It was a complete joy to interview you.
Thank you so much.